Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SpawnCast episode 116. We had to pre-record it, mostly because we'll be at too many games. I'll be there, Evan will be there, Sean might be there, I'm not sure yet, we'll see.
You never know.
You never know. Sean could just show up. He could just come out of the crowd, like their panels have. He could just show up with, like Nate will eventually, make his way through the crowd when we start touring with SpawnCast with like his Kratos mask on or something.
No one would know it's me.
That's the thing. You could sneak into the crowd and no one would know it was you. But we did want to go ahead and just pre-record like an hour-long thing for you guys. He still had some form of SpawnCast. So we have the usuals with us. We have Evan. What's going on today?
Not much.
We have OJ. OJ, how's it going, man?
Good. Doing good. Glad to be here.
Nate is with us. How's it going, Nate?
Not too bad.
Sean. And how you doing, Sean?
Good.
And then Max is with us. I went around kind of quick because we're short on time technically.
Yeah.
But we can quickly jump into what everyone's been playing. I know Bloodstained was on the table for a lot of people. That's what I've been playing. Unfortunately, I ran into the glitch when you download patch 1.02 to where midway through the game I can't get an item, so I'm stuck completely. So I'm just going to get the Switch version and restart on that one. Max did beat it. Okay, and I probably would have beaten it by now if I hadn't run into that glitch, because that was like 2 days ago I ran into it. And I was making good progress. I had the flame whip and everything, Max, and I'd already grinded several levels above what I was supposed to be doing, so...
Testament. So Bloodstained is great. Everybody's loving it. It blew my freaking mind because it's Castlevania. But something that's interesting about it is everybody's kind of having a different experience, because while there is a main path, the loot that's dropped is very randomized. Like, Spawn, you have a set of armor I don't have, and it looks crazy.
Yeah, we can't I can't even tell you what I can't even make like what it is, because it's kind of a spoiler. But it turns you into a certain character, which is really cool to see. There are a couple of cameos in there I was surprised about. There's certain barber and
yeah, I like that. Well, and also, I mean, let's face it, Solid Snake is basically in the game as a vampire hunting samurai, and he does the Solid Snake voice. It's David Hayter, and it's just weird when he shows up and he's just like, "Hey there, you're corrupted." It's like, oh my god, I'm about to get Solid Snaked.
Yeah, I ran into that guy like out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, oh, I got a boss battle. I was like, what? Dude, I freaked out. And I think I did it on stream too. So everyone was like, Monkus, they're doing all the stupid Twitch stuff that people do on Twitch. So I was just like, it was tough. I mean, I almost died, but I ended up beating him. He's not too hard once you kind of learn his little pattern. But no, the game is blown. The game is great. It's Symphony of the Night. It seems like Symphony of the Night sequel. Like, if they evolve Symphony of the Night in that same vein, it's like that. I'm enjoying it. I'm playing on the Xbox One X. Some issues here and there, but overall, pretty good experience. Pretty good experience and everything with the game. I like it. I love the crystal mechanics and whatever, or the shards. I love the eating. Even like the food stuff is kind of cool. We're getting like first time bonuses. Like, it really lets you like, make sure that you collect and get different slices of pork and food and stuff. So, I mean, it's been great for me so far.
There's a lot to that game. Like, I was surprised just how much is to that. There's crafting, there's cooking, there's leveling up different shards that you get. There's passive shards, there's active shards. It's all over the place.
Yeah, multiple different shards. So you can have like a shard that gives you passive abilities, right? Like John just said, you can have a shard that like you can attack, a shard that you can shoot with. I mean, you have an arsenal, like a really big arsenal. Like, you're stronger than any of like what you have like in Castlevania games. Like, you're way stronger. I mean, based on everything that you get in this game, you're definitely way stronger than what any of the Belmonts were, in any of those games or any of the other characters.
Yeah, very, very cool. And I think you're going to like it a lot, Sean. That might be a game you actually marathon.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I will. I was gonna pick it up on like PS4 or Xbox One, but I was just kind of like, I mean, I could, but if I do a specific Switch video on it, it'll probably do better. So from a business perspective, it made more sense for me to wait.
When I work, do a comparison video between them. You do like the PS4 to the Switch kind of thing, like a little comparison side by side, just for people who are curious. Because I saw a lot of people trying to decide which one to go with because they really weren't sure. I think
You're not wrong.
I think the big difference is frame rate. I think that's it, right?
But the Xbox One version, and I'm playing on the Xbox One X, and they say it's 4K enhanced. It does not run perfect.
No, I mean, yeah, there's mine. The PS4 Pro does this weird like thing where occasionally it'll freeze up for like 2 seconds and then start going. Like, I thought there was a bad glitch. I thought it had completely frozen at one point. I don't know if you saw that, Max, where there's just these weird glitches that were taking place with that.
The main thing I had is bosses or enemies that could block would freeze, where I could still move, but if they parried one of my moves, they'd stick in a parry for an extra like 10 frames. So not a super long amount of time, but you'd see them freeze for like half a second, and it was a little bit weird.
Okay.
Actually happened to it, and just a normal one of the enemy. You guys know like that big enemy at the beginning of the game, like he's like a lion with the sword.
Yeah.
Shard, and I couldn't get it. Then all of a sudden he like froze. And then I got a shard from that. I'm like, is that how you get a shard? Doing that? I was like on him for like 15 minutes just grinding, trying to get a shard. So I mean, yeah, that's happened a couple times. But from what I understand, the PC version of the game runs perfect. Like from what I understand.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be just more and more patches. Like I said, 1.02 came out, and unfortunately that broke the game for anyone who had made progress in the game up to that point. Now, if you get it and you have 1.02 from the start, you're fine. But for anyone who did that, and that patch isn't coming to the Xbox until next week. So you want to speed run the game now. You want to beat the game now on the Xbox One X, because once that patch applies and you don't have all of the items in the game to progress, you may not be able to get them because it messes up all the chests that are on the map at the time. So
Weird.
Yeah, not a great glitch. Not a great glitch of that patch. And they even said, we don't know what to do. You guys got to restart. So
it was like
fun.
Official statement they said is like, okay, this glitch is bad, but it only affects the people who are in the middle of the game. It doesn't affect the people who are just starting the game, and it doesn't affect the people who aren't playing the game. And for some reason that made me laugh of like,
yeah. We also My Friend Pedro. Did everyone play that one?
Yes.
Yep.
Sean did, Nate did, Max did not. OJ, did you get a chance to play My Friend Pedro at all?
I got a chance to play a little bit more of it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. What everyone think of it so far?
I like it. I felt like sometimes the combat feels a little bit too loosey-goosey. You know what I'm saying? Like your character movement or something. Like, I don't know. Like, just something about it. Like, your character feels a bit loosey-goosey at times. And it's like, well, I don't know. It should be a little bit more precise. But I like the vibe. I like the aesthetic of it. I love the music in the game. I think the music's phenomenal. It's very good. Very good.
It's kind of like 2D Max Payne a bit, isn't it? Like when you're playing it.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool for that. But the controls don't feel very intuitive to me.
Yeah, like they feel kind of loose. Like I feel like I should be able to, like, I know what I want to do and I know how to do it, but it seems like it's kind of a chore in order to do it.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
When you hold the controller and you start playing it, you'll realize that, like, just to do basic things, there's like an extra button press to do it, and it's yeah. I mean, I think they need to play around with the controls a little bit more. I think you were saying something like that too, Nate, where like the buttons are like just doing stuff in the game felt like more work than it should have been.
Yeah, it feels like you have to almost have like a claw type of setup for your hands. I mean, after the first few levels, you kind of adjust to it and you kind of get into the flow of things. My bigger issue with the game is just that the level design never really evolves after the first few stages. Like, it introduces like a machine gun or like lasers, but it's still the same basic repetition of slow down time, spin to dodge, shoot.
It's not a super long game either.
No, it's only about 4 hours.
It's pretty quick.
And that's even if you replay some of the levels to get like a better score and stuff. So the only replay value is that you played a level, you got a C ranking, and you know you could get a B, an A, or an S ranking. So you go back to it and replay it and try to keep that multiplier active the entire time. So it's a good game. I just don't know if it has any lasting appeal after you beat it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay though, I guess. It's like $20, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you gotta decide if it's a fun enough experience for a couple hours for $20. I think the idea is fun and cool, but I think it could be a little better and maybe a sequel or a follow-up or something. Definitely gotta work on the controls for it though. What about Judgment, Max?
Judgment is no joke my game of the freaking year. You are basically Batman in Japan. You solve mysteries, you get to like stop time and do investigations. You have to question people and pick locks and put on costumes to sneak into enemy bases, and have multiple styles of kung fu, so you can actually go to tiger stance or viper stance for taking out multiple opponents. At one point I got an ashtray, put it in a guy's mouth, punched it, made him fall backwards into his buddy's sword, and then backflipped like off a balcony.
Is that next week that's out?
The Sega said something to me today of if you pre-order it on PlayStation digitally, I think you can play it tonight. And if you want the physical edition, even the normal one apparently comes with tons of stuff though. So everybody buy the physical one. Obviously, they gave me a digital review code, but they said the physical box is going to have like reversible cover art and lots of stickers and a big physical manual, I think. So
yeah,
buy
I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna grab it physically. Yeah, I think that's out. I think it's next week physically.
It's
like
6th to 28th, so it's out next week.
Okay, yeah. So I'll grab it physically. That sounds pretty cool to have it like that with all the extra stuff with it. I like when companies do that. So, I've wanted to play a Yakuza game, but getting into the series now is a lot. There's a lot of time investment. So to hear that this is like kind of a new IP that you can just jump into and try it out is exciting for me. I want to try it.
It also feels really different because you're a flat-out good guy for the first time ever in this universe. When you were the Yakuza, you were doing good things sometimes, or sometimes you were doing something that was less bad. Here, you are literally just trying to solve crimes, and I actually think that really improves the story.
Okay. Anything else you guys played this week?
Cadence of Hyrule.
What do you think of Cadence of Hyrule, Sean? Because we talked about it last week, but you weren't on the podcast, so I was curious what
my internet was all scuffed.
I was curious what your thoughts were on that one.
Beautiful graphics, excellent music, charming. Not a fan of the gameplay.
You don't like the rhythm stuff.
I don't. I beat the game. It took me for freaking ever, and I just never felt like I mastered the gameplay, and I was like, you know, when you play a game and you're like, okay, I can do this. I know what to do here. I never felt that way with this game. And there are people out there that absolutely fell in love with the gameplay, and that's awesome. You know, I'm not saying it's a bad game or anything. It's just not a game for me.
Did you try turning the rhythm off to do the turn-based stuff?
Yes, and I found that even more difficult.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I guess at that time the enemies will move every time you move. Pretty much, they'll take a turn.
Yeah.
Whereas you can do some cool stuff like you can speed up the tempo so you can move faster and everything. But I guess I can see what you're saying. It's definitely not a game for everyone. But that music is sick. That is. Oh yeah. The music is insane.
The presentation was amazing. Absolutely fantastic, and it's definitely worth the price. It's just the gameplay isn't probably what you're expecting it to be, and you might not like it. But you know, a lot of people loved it, so yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Anything else, guys, that we played this week before I move into some of the topics?
I got beta week for me mostly. Children of Morta has a demo out, and the auto chess thing Valve's putting out.
Okay. Was auto chess on Epic Store?
Auto chess. The story of auto chess is a group of people made a mod in Dota 2 for auto chess. It blew up. It's huge. It became its own Dota streaming, or it became its own Twitch streaming channel. Stuff like that. They started moving it over to phones, and Valve approached them to be like, "Hey, do you guys want to actually make this a game?" And they said, "No, screw you. We're just putting it on phones." And then I guess Epic bought them. So now Epic, I guess, owns them as a company and is the auto chess out there. And Valve, because of how their terms were for the game, they're basically like, "Well, we still own the rights to being able to make this game," so they're just making it as. And it's pretty cool. The Valve version actually is really smooth.
Cool. All right, very good. So you guys actually had some stuff we wanted to go over because this was a little earlier in the week than we're used to recording. So what did you guys want to talk about exactly? Because everyone had like a different topic and stuff that you guys wanted to go over.
Beef jerky.
Okay, so what is it about beef jerky? What happened here?
I bought a bunch of beef jerky.
Did it equate to a Pro controller in terms of price?
Okay, well, there was actually 2 instances of buying beef jerky because I bought like $50 worth on Amazon, and then I was waiting for it to come in because it didn't come in until yesterday. And 2 days ago, I went to the gas station and they had like this big ass bag of beef jerky for like $12, so I snagged that too. So it was $62 for all the beef jerky. However, beef jerky is delicious. You can eat beef jerky. You cannot eat a Pro controller. If you have beef jerky, you eat the beef jerky. If you don't have beef jerky, you don't eat beef jerky. I could still play my Nintendo Switch without a Pro controller.
I
would have a Pro Controller, you would have liked Cadence of Hyrule. That's the really thing that's stopping you from liking Cadence of Hyrule.
No
was the
way.
Pro
No
You would have
way.
liked the game.
I didn't dislike it. I liked it, but I thought I was going to love it.
Would have been for you with the Pro Controller.
hey,
I'm
maybe
convinced.
it would have been okay with my friend Pedro with a Pro Controller.
No, because you said the same thing I said.
You might have liked Hyrule with a DDR dance pad.
Oh, see, that actually might have been kind of interesting.
You know, I have one for the GameCube.
Plug that in. I think it works with the GameCube adapter.
Oh,
Please do that
That's
video.
a video right there, man.
That's too much effort.
I would watch that. I would watch
That's
that
not-
one, Sean.
Have to be eating beef jerky on the dance pad.
Cadence of Hyrule dance pad, bruh.
Oh man, that'd be
Title
great.
is so good.
That'd be great. So, what else do you plan on buying, Sean? That's exactly $50 going forward. That's not a Pro Controller.
I mean, I bought some stuff at Walgreens today. I needed some drinks and snacks and stuff. I got to go buy Crash Team Racing tomorrow. That's what, 30?
I thought it was 40. Am I wrong?
I think it's $39.99.
40.
Okay, so $40. But I mean, that's a value.
That's a good game though, so I'm okay with that. That's gonna be awesome. I'll be playing a lot of that tomorrow at Too Many Games probably. So that's gonna be fun. Max, what did you bring up, Max? Because you rolled in here with all kinds of stuff going on. There's things happening everywhere apparently.
Thing I really want to dig into is there is so much misinformation going on right now about the Final Fantasy VII remake. Titties. I mean, there's no other way to put this. Are fine. Some people seem to be doing like statistical scientific analysis of them breasticles, but they're just normal titties. There was some sort of quote that came out that apparently there was like an ethics board that made her put on a sports bra to hold them digital knockers, but it's outraged about those titties.
So wait, what's going on, Max? So Tifa's design came out, and people aren't happy with what she's wearing for her shirt and everything. Is that the idea?
Well, and some people are trying to claim that them D titties are B titties, and I just don't know what to tell those people because it's just there's so much weird outrage about those titties, and I do not understand it.
I mean, I guess because when you look at the PS1 version, I mean they look different, but I mean by that
They were like 5 polygons back then. Though.
yeah, but I mean that's what I was gonna say. Like you have to also look at Tomb Raider. Like Lara Croft had triple Z's in that game. Like
There's a tweet going around that is a person being serious where there's a screenshot of Tifa next to all the other female characters in Final Fantasy VII. It said, you know what made Tifa unique as a character? Her tits. And it's like her looking, the guy was like seriously offended that they like a normal instead of like crazy Barbie doll. I don't know.
I think probably what happened, I think, is that if you look at the design from before, especially with like Advent Children and some other ones, I remember her shirt actually being kind of loose around like the midriff, and they probably decided as like a design standpoint to just make it so that her shirt was like much more form-fitting and then put a black undershirt on just to make it easier to actually put that into the game.
Wise, you're not having to constantly like render the cloth. I mean, it's just obviously it was just a design choice of simplification. Nobody is attacking the tits. All right,
that's the way I read it. Yeah, go OJ.
They seem, from what I'm seeing here and from what I remember, they definitely seem more proportionate to her body, what it would actually be, because she's really disproportionate in the original. Like if you look at some like the CG and stuff like that, they look ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? They're too ballooned and all that for how she's probably no more than like 100. She's tiny. She's not a very big person at all. So the fact that they were like that and they kind of made it more proportionate, I think it fits with the realism. It fits with that. So to me, it makes sense that it looks the way that she looks. They're still big. Like there would be there's no way those are B. Anybody who, I mean, a lot of these people that are talking about B, they don't ever be with, they're never with girls. Let me just say that right now. Those are not B's, okay? I've been with a couple girls here and there, and I can tell you the different sizes. I'm telling you, those are not B's. Oh, they nerfed them from. Shut up, okay? Shut up.
They nerfed freaking Cloud's shoulder. Cloud used to have these giant literal boulder shoulders, and now they made him have normal looking arms. It's like they just redesigned people.
In comparison to what they had before, but it's more realistic, so it has to be more proportionate to what you're doing now. Like they had to, so it is a little bit of a nerf, but it's not like anything crazy. It's yeah, of course she actually looks way more realistic now. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course you had to, but they're still gigantic for how thin she is.
I'm gonna be outraged when Red actually looks like an animal. I'm expecting like this blocky Lego-looking thing, and when he comes out looking like an ancient dog-wolf hybrid type creature, I'm gonna sit there saying that's ridiculous. How dare he look like an animal? Just like the people who got mad at Lion King. How dare Pumbaa look like a warthog? Damn you, Disney!
Tag no digital PETA.
Wait a minute, like Simba actually looks like a lion. I'm outraged.
I mean, God, I can't believe it. I can't believe Square making streets look like streets, making soldiers look like soldiers, making Cloud have realistic looking hands instead of giant blocks.
Where's humanity?
Let me move over here to another odd situation. There's a lot of weird things that happen this week in terms of, I guess, decision making by companies.
It's the week after E3. It's when everyone gets outraged.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a little confused about Animal Crossing to a degree, because we have cloud saves for the Switch. People had to have seen this. This blew up on Reddit, on their subreddit and everything for the Switch and everything. Cloud saves will not work with Animal Crossing, which seems strange considering how much time people put into that game, that you might want to back up your island or your save file. And they're concerned about people time traveling or cheating their game. But do you guys think it's worth basically the inability to back up your people spend thousands of hours in that game.
Yeah.
Do you think it's worth the inability to back up your island and your save file and your world so that people don't cheat in their game?
It's one of those weird things where no other Animal Crossing has had save backups, so it's not like they're taking away a feature, but at the same time, if you want to manipulate time for your island, who are you hurting other than yourself? Exactly. It's not like there's online leaderboards or online competitions where you're getting like an advantage in, so there's really
at least.
Yeah, that's sort of one of the caveats. It's like, well, what does the online actually entail? Because, I mean, they could do shit where there's like, I don't know, mini games or something where you're playing different mini games and there's leaderboards for those mini games. I do think it's stupid that they can't just differentiate like somehow, like, to save it just for your single player shit and your whatever the online entails, like that isn't able to be in the cloud save.
So it was really funny. Somebody mentioned that how many times are you really going to have to pull your save back from the cloud? Probably not that often, right? You're going to back it up a bunch of times, but you're really not going to pull your save back down more than a few times if you're doing it like on the up and up. Maybe you get a new system, maybe you upgrade to a revision or the next Switch that's backwards compatible or something like that, or you go to a friend's house and you pull it. Somebody made the funny idea of you keep Mr. Rossetti, and his job is to show up and do like a 10-minute speech every time you pull your save down from the cloud. And it lengthens a bit more every time, like to the point where you're getting an hour-long speech. Like how people log into Splatoon 2, and how long do you sit there and listen to them talk? Like every time, it's like 10 minutes of them just talking back and forth. It's like one of the most annoying things about Splatoon, but just have Mr. Rossetti show up and he'll tell you about like, how his kids don't visit him anymore and all this stuff. And that's like, it's like this 10-15 minute thing of just some video game character talking to you. There's gotta be, I feel like, a deterrent so that people can still back their stuff up. What were you saying, Max?
I'm going to say, clearly the technology exists. Something I know because, before I lived with my fiance, we lived separately, and I was playing Resident Evil 2 at my house and her house, and I would transfer the save file back and forth a lot because I had to sign in on both consoles. And I noticed that it actually seemed to know when I signed in at a console, if there was a newer save file for the game in the cloud, it would download it. So I feel like there must be a way of, if I want to get my Switch save file, I should be able to make it where it doesn't just let me perpetually overwrite to create fake save files or whatever.
Yeah, I do wonder can they really just not figure it out how to make that work?
I think there needs to be some type of option. At least it's like it locks like a local backup option, like
Hmm.
on a SD card. I know they don't have that yet, but there's got to be something in the works coming because I think this is ridiculous for this game in particular. I mean, like I'm still gonna get it, but I think it's ridiculous because it's like too much time in this game. Like, and to say, oh well, if something happens, oh well, you know, this is more. This can be more than any other game on the Switch so far to this point, right? I mean, if you're looking at it.
Hmm.
So the worst thing that could happen if something happens to your save file would be in a game like Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
And
and
Smash or worse than any other game out there.
yeah, and now I think about it, Animal Crossing on the DS would have saved to the cartridge. So even if your 2DS or 3DS or your DS Lite at the time broke, I guess technically you would still have your save file.
Is there anybody else?
Yep.
It's not just me, right?
What happened?
What are you thinking about this?
Oh, is that it? Are you talking about Evan?
Is it in? So theoretically,
Well, the best part is Evan is frozen too.
I can't wait for Discord to launch their own streaming service.
Right?
Evan and
It's
John
our
are
show
really
now.
they're really thinking about these though.
Oh, not
Evan died.
Yeah.
Oh, then John's back.
I'm back.
Hey.
Okay.
We're laughing because you froze in the middle of the most hardcore thinking phase. We were all like, "Let's just pretend it's
Still
cool."
frozen?
Discord's
I didn't
doing
know
well.
it was just me, so I wasn't gonna say shit.
No, you're good, Evan. You're good.
Okay.
We're trying to we're slowly
Get this
breaking we're breaking Discord
Annihilating
slowly.
outside.
Leave it in, baby.
Yeah.
Leave it in.
I
Let's
was
go.
I was saying with Animal Crossing on like the DS or the 3DS, 2DS, it would save to the cartridge, right? So
Yeah.
even if your system broke,
So if you lost your game, you lost your.
if you lost your game, yeah, but if your system broke, you would still have your save file. Whereas now, if your system breaks, or it's a portable Switch, you're in trouble. You don't have your 500-hour island anymore. So I don't know.
There'll probably be
First of all,
something they'll address in like a patch, like 3 months later.
To me, it's
Something like
important.
a
It's
feature.
What were you saying, Max?
really want the Switch Mini. Like, the Switch Mini is probably going to become my primary Switch when it comes out, when it's finally revealed. And so I think I am going to be occasionally passing save files back and forth through the cloud of like putting it on my Switch when I want to record gameplay, and then when I'm out and about, putting it on my Switch Mini. So
Oh, that's a good point. When we do get to the point where we have revisions of the Switch, and maybe you do have a mini, like you're saying, Max, and you don't want to take your other one with you, you just want to use the mini because it's more pocket size, you would want to be able to pass the save around. That's a good point.
I already do that. I have a Switch that's literally just dedicated for me playing portable that sits in my grip the whole time, and in my little portable case. And like, yeah, I do the whole passing the saves back and forth as well. But you can't do that with certain games. I mean, I know I think like Let's Go Pokemon or whatever, Let's Go series, you can't. Well, whatever. But yeah, Animal Crossing would definitely be one of those games that's like DMV. At my mom's house. Whatever the case is. Like, I want to be able to have it there, but now I'm gonna have to just take. Going to be on,
You gotta pick. Yeah, you're gonna have to pick one.
So that kind of sucks. And like when the Switch Mini comes out, same thing for me. That's going to be my dedicated portable Switch.
Yeah.
You kind of do that, but
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because I thought Nintendo was going to be the one to set the example for cloud saves and using them in games, but they're actually shying away from that. Whereas, does every third party use cloud saves? Like, I'm trying to think of a third party that doesn't use cloud saves right now off the top of my head.
Fortnite.
Well, yeah, but Fortnite's already saved to its own
Fortnite
cloud.
server side.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a game that doesn't use cloud saves right now.
I'm not sure if the NBA 2K games do on the Switch.
I don't think they do.
I think they do on other platforms, but I don't think they do on the Switch for some reason.
Okay. Well, I think it's because isn't the save file for that like a gigabyte or something crazy? Like, isn't it massive?
Dark Souls is still one that doesn't allow it.
Okay. Yeah, I think that NBA, you might have to check, Sean, since you get it every year, just to see. But I feel like the save file for NBA 2K is like a gig or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's massive. It's bigger than that.
Yeah, you're not uploading that. Nintendo doesn't want that. But interesting stuff there. Okay, so we just lightly touched on the Switch Mini, and that was actually showing up because, Sean, you did a video on it, right?
Yeah, I did one today on it. I wanted to wait on it, but yeah, basically, It looks like it's. I mean, it's one of the worst kept secrets in gaming. Like, of course, there's going to be revisions to the damn system, but a Chinese company basically is like starting to send out emails for accessories for the Switch Mini, and they sent out like one batch of emails, and then they had one picture of the Switch Mini, which is pretty much the model that we have seen so far as like renditions of it. But then they had like another picture of a Switch Mini, which looked absolutely nothing like we have seen before. And so a lot of people are like, well, which is the Switch Mini? And in my video, I basically think that the fancier looking one, the new looking one, is probably nothing like the system. I think the more form-fitting, smaller one that has, the same sort of look and aesthetic is probably what you're going to get.
Okay. I was looking at so interestingly enough, it seems Nintendo Life actually got an update on it too. It's from Hansan?
Yeah, it's from Hansan, and Nintendo Life contacted one of their representatives, and the representative said it was based on secret information, and that if anything changes according to specs once Nintendo officially announces the system, that they'll be able to handle it.
Secret information.
Literally, that's what
I
it says.
emailed them, and they gave me a completely different type of reply. They're just like, this is based on research and tracking of new developments in the industry. Basically, we listen to rumors is all I mean, like, the renders are crap. The product is real. And I mean, that's the simple version of it. You're looking at, I mean, one of the renders was fan made.
Oh,
right.
I thought
that they threw in the image. It's just that one shiny one that people can't find the original render of.
Yeah, the shiny one is the one that that's the one I used in the thumbnail, because I was like, well, I've never used this render before. Nobody knows where the fuck it's from. But I think that's the most unrealistic one. I think the fan render is more realistic, and it's actually interesting because there's something in that fan render that I don't know, maybe people have talked about this before, but maybe it would be something that would help cut costs, and that is the fact that in the fan render one, there's no capture button. And I don't know how much a capture button would lower a cost of the system, but there's no capture button on that one.
You're right. Yeah, that looks weird. But that looks like just an error. That's so weird looking.
It's interesting that they wouldn't have a capture button. That's weird. Oh, okay.
But do you think that could potentially make costs less?
I think it'll have a capture button. I think it'll still have all that. Honestly, I think they're gonna scoop out everything Rumble related. They're gonna scoop out everything IR related. They're gonna scoop out pretty much everything. I have a feeling it may even have just a built-in storage. There won't be replaceable storage. I feel like they're going to try and minimize everything.
I actually wondered if they do a die shrink on the chip, if they passively cool it, so you don't need a fan. I thought about that too. I was like, I wonder if they can make that happen.
You remove the fan, you can make the unit a decent amount smaller. Which, if they're going for the portable end, they want to make the unit smaller. They want to make. You don't want all those moving parts of a fan and something a kid's going to be dropping and kicking. You want like the DS, the Game Boy, one solid piece, and just
because if it's a lower power device that isn't looking to be really docked, at that point, if they remove the fan, it's not getting docked. Basically, is the idea.
Or it would be docked. You're just not going to see any performance increase. It'd be like what you did with the PSP, where you had the
cable.
Actually, with the video, you have the cable. You plug in. You get the image on your TV. It's just going to be a 720p image of the Switch game. You're not going to get the 1080 boost.
Yeah, because you see like iPads and stuff that are doing ridiculous visual. Like we have that one iPad where they hooked it up and it was doing like Xbox One level visuals and NBA 2K, and that was passively cool. So, I guess you never know. That might actually be the way to go, is to remove the fan. That would save costs as well. So maybe they could sneak that thing in there at $199.9 and put it out there with a smaller form factor. I actually think that would sell really well.
Honestly, I think at the end of everything, I think it may outsell the standard Switch, because as much as the Switch is selling, as soon as you start aiming something even more towards kids, parents buy the hell out of it.
Yeah, if they have that for the holiday, it's going to be ridiculous in like the November, December months. It'll be flying off the shelves. I don't even think they'll bundle it with anything. I think they'll just have it ready to go for Pokemon, and mostly Pokemon actually. Yeah.
Everything more cooled off, so it just doesn't overheat.
So like an air conditioner.
Yeah. So I mean, at this point, I feel like we've been talking about these revisions for so long now. At this point, we're just kind of coasting and waiting for them to announce either the mini or whatever the full revision is at this point. I mean, it's like, I don't know how much longer we're waiting, but I mean, I feel like the Wall Street Journal's been talking about this thing for like a year and a half.
Wall Street Journal's been talking about it since basically January. They just put out their report saying they're in production, which means, and Nvidia said they're expecting, higher demand of their chips in the second half of 2019. Nintendo has loaded September up with like 5 releases, so everything is pointing to a September launch for both revisions.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Link's Awakening looks absolutely amazing, so that's one of for it.
At this point, we just have to wait for Mario Maker 2 to release, because they're not going to announce revisions ahead of one of their biggest games of June where they want to sell a lot of hardware. You probably wait even after Fire Emblem comes out, introduce it, like the day after or early August, release it in mid-September. Because right now you have games that are going to sell hardware, and you're not going to want to say, oh, we have a cheaper model coming out in 8 weeks. Don't buy the current Switch. You want to get those sales right now, and then you can chop the legs off the current model in, like August 3rd.
Yeah. So, interesting. That's gonna be interesting when that does happen and they announce it. But as far as we can tell, these renders and stuff they put out are from a secret source or just renders and research and stuff they came up with. Is that what we're going with here?
Yeah, more than likely. I don't think that the glossy one. Nah, there's no way the system's gonna look like that. I think that's completely fake.
Okay. Fair enough. Then we had Mario Maker 2. There are a lot of previews for Mario Maker 2 actually right now that are going on. But some people, Max, you said some people were talking about how it seems a little more bare bones than they thought it would be. I think I saw some of Game Explain talking about that. How it seemed like it was slightly less than they thought it would be. And then there's the odd thing where you can't use physical buttons in handheld mode. You can only use the touchscreen.
Well, I saw Game Explain put up a video of like 10 things missing from Mario Maker 2, and in general, it just sounds like Mario Maker 1 before all the update patches. It's like, okay, we have some extra toolkit parts, but it's just...
So we're talking about actually building the levels, like they're missing things in like the editing part. Is that the idea?
Kind of what it sounds like, and just little toolkits and shortcuts. It's just kind of one of the things of like, it sounds like it's not necessarily... like a worse game, but it's kind of just the same game again.
As long as I can play the levels though, right? As long as I can play them, that's all I want to do. I'm not good at building. Like I said, what were you saying?
One of the main things I've been hearing about the building aspect is that it's just very unintuitive compared to the Wii U version. Like the gamepad, you had it in front of you. You took out the stylus. You knew exactly how to go about building. On the Switch, it's just not that immediate. You don't have that sense of like welcoming. It's kind of like there's a fence to jump this time around that the Wii U game did not have. And it seems to be putting off people a little bit. But I mean, it's one of those you just have to learn. Once you learn, you'll feel comfortable with it, but it's just not, you don't grasp it immediately.
That's one of the big things where the Wii U actually has a large advantage over the Switch for, and that's Mario Maker. That's not usually we're the other way around. We're like, oh, the Switch, massive advantage over the Wii U and everything. This is one case where it's the opposite. Having that second screen massively helps Mario Maker. I think a lot of people see that now. But I mean, even technically the 3DS had it, so.
Because in this game, Mario Maker, one of the things that some people did was actually show people how they build levels too. At the same time, right? And it can be displayed when you're watching it. But now you can't do it unless you have portable capture card. Only way that you can do that, which most people probably don't have a portable capture card.
Yeah.
For Switch. Well, I know Nate does.
Yeah, Nate does. He's just letting
most people don't. I don't think Nate's gonna spend all his time building levels and streaming it on Twitch or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'll build one level. It's gonna be something that's gonna piss people off, and then I'll never build another one again.
You're gonna make it super hard?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Are you gonna do that thing where you can do like a little door that's hidden in the beginning just to get to the end? So
maybe.
Because you have to get to the end so you can put it online, right? You have to be able to beat it. And people were kind of cheesing that by putting a door that would teleport you to the end automatically, so you don't have to go through the whole thing. They would do little secrets to get there. That's the thing. You're going to see a lot of those. I like those auto levels too, where it automatically does it, or like play music and everything and do all this crazy stuff.
Those are fun.
Those are just fun to download and be like, that was cool, and then you move on. But I'm looking forward to that. And of course 3D World, see what people come up with for that. And maybe they announce like Mario Galaxy World or something. You never know. That'd be cool. Did you guys see the EA stuff that took place yesterday?
I heard about it.
I'm saying that loot boxes are happy surprises.
They're surprise mechanics and completely ethical. They don't want to call them loot boxes. That seemed like an interesting thing that happened. They did not want to call it loot boxes. They were talking to UK government officials yesterday about it for like 3 hours. I mean, it was like this long hearing, basically, talking about it because they're investigating addictive natures in loot boxes. They did not want to call them loot boxes at all. Like they were calling them surprise mechanics instead. And I saw a lot of people weigh in on Twitter. I mean, like, you're talking like game developers. I saw Corey Barlog weigh in on it. Like, everyone was talking about this, where they essentially want to call it something else so that they can still kind of do it, basically, and it not be loot boxes.
I mean, the last couple.
What was that? No, I lost you for a second. Go ahead.
It's also partially because for the past couple of years, like, people are just going loot boxes are evil over and over and over again. It's basically been beaten into the subconscious of every human being at this point. So, I mean, if they keep calling it that, they have to take back, I guess, the idea that it's just a mechanic versus it being loot boxes equals evil, and like that's the problem they have to deal with.
There's a serious theory going around that Disney does not like loot boxes at all. They do not like that idea. And I have a feeling they may have changed the name a bit for that corporate speak, so they can be like, no,
it's possible.
Loot boxes, surprise mechanics.
When it made them money.
Huge demographic. Like, just being able to sell loot boxes in Europe probably makes them billions and billions and billions of dollars every single year off of stuff like FIFA. So they are willing to. They probably hired so many like speech people to rephrase this in a way to sell, and they came up with fun surprises. And one of the things that cracked me up is that they kept referring to loot crates as quite ethical. Like, surprisingly, taking people's money for a vague product is actually quite ethical. It's like, what are you talking about?
Surprise mechanics, and they're quite, that's what they're calling them officially, right? Dreamcast guys, surprise mechanics. That's why I saw it on there. That's that is absolutely atrocious from EA, and they should be ashamed of them damn selves. Like, seriously, that is atrocious. That they should be so ashamed of themselves for that. I can't. Surprise mechanics. Get the hell out of here. What the hell is that? Surprise mechanics? You're kidding me. Is that what you're gonna do to try to convince people that this is what's going on? Like, how dumb are like.
It's specifically for FIFA also. FIFA's an annualized series that they keep doing every year, and it always sells consistently over 20 million copies. So, like, they're already making a ton of money. If they just sold stuff straight up, they would still make an obscene amount of money, like just like a straight up transaction without loot boxes.
So they don't want to, obviously, like most of these companies are public traded, they don't want to lose that money. But it comes to a time where you have to realize they're trying to hold on, but they really need to refocus and say, okay, we're going to have to let go of X or Y amount of money and go back to the old way of how you used to do it, which was just DLC. You know what I'm saying? Which is just trying to get people to buy DLC. This whole loot box stuff thing that they're doing and everything like that, it's got to die for them because they can't continue to sit here and make up this kind of crap. This is absolutely ridiculous. Like, surprise mechanics, at some point they have to realize that, okay, make $30 million a year. Okay, maybe we should kind of invest it back into making sure players that we can like not have our games devalued to like $12 after like a few months because we rehash our games every single year. They need to figure it out. At some point they have to figure this out, and hopefully EA does so. But I can't support it. I can't support a dumbass company like this at all anymore.
It's not even a game
I really can't.
It's not even a game that lasts 4 years or something, an ongoing thing. They redo it every year and make you buy it again.
It makes me not even want to buy the Jedi Fallen Order. It makes me even not want to, like, I cannot support a company this damn dumb at this point. Like, that, this is ridiculous.
I've heard some game developers kind of speculate that what we're probably about to see is a giant shift of everybody, especially people like EA, are probably about to 100% go games as a service because loot crates are so bad and so toxic. It seems like the whole community is against them now. So everybody is probably going to start to sell giant expansion passes that last like 3 months. Oh, you want the next 3 months of patches? Pay $50. I think everybody's going to start moving away
season
from loot
packs
crates
and stuff. Yeah.
very soon, I would say within the next like year and a half or 2 years, I think that everything is going to stop having loot crates and microtransactions, and instead it's just going to be like a pay to play. If you want to keep playing this game, it's always going to cost you money.
Well, you know how you do it. You gotta support the developers of the studios are sticking with it. You got CD Projekt Red sticking with the old mentality of you release a game, you sell it, you put out a good expansion, and then you move on to developing the next game. You got Nintendo pushing hard for just straight up releases, right? It's look towards that, because CD Projekt Red has done something that's very interesting. Because Nate, we were talking about this, and we thought Nintendo was doing some kind of subsidizing, but I cannot find any proof of it. And that's that CD Projekt Red is putting out Witcher 3 with all of the expansions, everything, and it's going on a 32 gigabyte cartridge. I can't find anything. I mean, unless you have, I've been looking everywhere. I can't find anything that says Nintendo is subsidizing the cartridge.
Would Nintendo announce that though? Would that be something that they would actually talk about?
I mean, they're not publishing it either, though.
They might be distributing it, something similar that they did with Doom and Skyrim during the launch year. It was technically Bethesda published it, but Nintendo distributed the game to help with those publishing costs. So that could be the case here, because the 32 gigabyte cards are still quite costly, and it doesn't seem like something that was it. CD Projekt Red, are they self-publishing, or is Warner Brothers publishing it in the West?
I don't think Warner Bros. Has anything to do with
I think this is just straight CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling Nintendo has given a little money to this version of the game.
They must have, because it's them and Saber's doing this, right? With them.
Yes, CD Projekt Red and Saber handle the port.
Unless they think it's just going to sell really well or something. I don't know.
I mean, they definitely have the goodwill of, they've earned some goodwill by doing the complete game, all the DLC, both on a card. So gamers are definitely saying, hey, I'm going to buy Witcher 3 because you guys are doing the release right. And they're giving you some stickers, a map, and a compendium.
Yeah, nice little.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going into this. For like a lot of times, I can barely get a manual out of these companies when it comes to this stuff. They're doing like stickers and like what's the other, Nicholas? I think Nicholas is the only one that really does that, like that I know of. When I bought Final Fantasy 12, I got an advertisement for 10.10.2 in it instead of a manual in the little slots. So I'm like, all right. So to see CD Projekt Red doing all of that makes me really look at someone like 2K, because Sean knows this. Sean knows 2K all too well with NBA. How much they make you download over there, Sean, when you buy it physically?
like 30 gigs.
Make you do that. So here's the thing about CD Projekt Red. There is a little bit of an unfair playing field because they develop out of Poland, and it's a lot cheaper over there, and they save costs a lot on development.
My hunch is how Nintendo is probably distributing is because this would be the first Western release using a 32 gigabyte cartridge.
You think it might be a good example kind of thing? Like, hey, we got a 32 gig out there.
I think, hey, we got it out there. We're selling some of these units that will help bring down the cost a little bit because we're actually manufacturing them. So we want this game to sell well.
Do you think, like, I'm looking at CD Projekt Red hates DRM. They make fun of it constantly. They make fun of loot boxes constantly, all this stuff, right? I almost wonder if Nintendo really is, like, helping with distribution or just something. I wonder if they specifically wanted to get CD Projekt Red because of that. I don't know. It is interesting. Maybe, like, I'm trying to think of why that would have happened. Nintendo trying to set, like, an example for other companies. I don't know.
It's that I bet that there's some numbers we don't have of just, like, copies of stuff like Doom and Skyrim selling. Like, I bet it's just that these bigger, hardcore, like, adult-focused games may be just selling so many millions of copies that Nintendo's like, okay, yeah, like, just support it. Do whatever it takes. Even if we have to buy the cartridges ourselves, like, we need this on here.
It's gonna be. I'm trying to think of because those 32 gig cards are expensive.
Yeah, the 32 gig cards are expensive. It's a weird situation because, like, Wolfenstein 2 got a retail release, and now we're seeing Wolfenstein Young Bloods be a digital-only release on the Switch, but they're putting a retail box copy in that comes with a code. So why is Bethesda now not putting that one on a game card when they did, Doom, Skyrim, and Wolfenstein 2? Like, it seems that's why I believe Nintendo has to be handling distribution of Witcher.
Yeah, but then we see Capcom do weird stuff where they put Dragon's Dogma on a 16 GB cartridge for $30.
Well, Capcom is beyond understanding.
But then what about like THQ Nordic dropping Darksiders on a cartridge for cheap too?
Or lower than the 32 though. So
Yeah, lower than
those are
32, but like these are like, but they're making them cheaper. Like 32, it's a $60 game with Witcher. You know, it's like, all right, they gotta do that. But we see these weird examples of other cart sizes. I almost wonder if just they were able to get better deals on cart size and able to do that. I don't know. It's very strange, some of this stuff. I don't know if
helping.
What's that?
I think Nintendo's helping. I think Nintendo's helping for sure.
It's but like they've never like worked together either before, have they? Siege Project Red and Nintendo. Like this is the first...
this would be the first CD Projekt Red game on a Nintendo platform. So I mean, it's a good way to build that relationship. Like, hey, can you guys bring Witcher 3 over to Switch? And CD Projekt Red sat there, said, we'll do tests, we'll see if it if it can happen. They say, yeah, we can bring it. Can you help us with this? Like, we'll cover your distribution costs. And they say, okay, we'll handle the port. Let's see what we get. And I mean, they seem pretty proud of what they've produced.
They seem really happy with it, actually. There's a whole interview of them talking about it. Like, yeah, we like what's happening here. It looks pretty good for being on the Switch and everything. Apparently, they changed up the UI, like all that changed. So I don't know if you want to check that out, Evan, and see what you think, since you spent a lot of time on that on the PC.
I can check it and compare it. I mean, I read that interview and the guy was pretty much just like, "Oh, it looks just as good." I doubt it. I doubt it's going to look just as good.
It's not going to look just as good, yeah.
I do want to see the limits to what they were able to pull off, like, because there were a lot of crazy things that happened.
Is that going to be a weird game to see as a handheld game, Evan, for you? Like, is that like one of those mind-blowing games for you? I think we lost Evan.
It is going to be a weird.
Yeah, it is going to be weird. A lot of weird things.
At Comcast, the internet's fighting back.
So that
over
was
there.
a straight face, Sean. Like this is going to be a weird.
Is this the most
It's a pretty weird freeze?
But no, CD Projekt Red, I think they're doing a good job, like, with the game overall. Like, I still think that it's pretty cool, that like it's even coming in the first place.
Yeah, it's a pretty exciting release when you really like. It's a portable Witcher 3, and that's pretty cool. Like, it's actually, when the first came out, I couldn't take the game's combat. I loved the world and the setting, and then I played it during E3 week because I wanted to get some PS4 footage so I could compare it to the Switch trailer. And I don't know if it's because it's the complete edition that I was playing this time around, but I actually enjoyed the combat.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
From all the patch notes I read, nothing changed about it. You might have just come into it with a more open mind.
It just felt like it didn't feel as janky. It felt smooth this time around. So
wait. Oh, okay. So Evan, I was asking that before you froze up. Is it mind blowing for you to think that Witcher 3 would be a handheld game at this point on a portable system?
It would be if they achieved what they always talk about in their videos. Sweeping, interesting views and vistas and elements to the entire game, so that at any point in time you feel the overwhelming sense of the world, and that I want to see. But I don't think it's going to be on the Switch. I think it's going to feel more like, even though it will be most of the main gameplay mechanics, it's going to be like the cell phone version almost. Just going to be like, oh, you can experience the story, get a little bit of the voice acting, and wander around, and that's it. So I don't think it's going to be like going to a gallery, looking at the frames without pictures and going, I still like it, and then walking on. I don't know how
this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting if Evan gets his hands and is like, oh, this is actually decent. That's going to be interesting. Now, you know what? Now we're going to get you that game, Evan, and we're going to see
I'll
what you
check
think.
it out, but
because you are like the
even
Witcher,
from the trailers I saw, it wasn't really that
you are the Witcher expert.
You got to do a video. Gamer reviews Witcher on Switch. I would watch the hell out of that.
Evan is a massive Witcher fan, so
it was a great series. I liked it.
It's going to be interesting to see his take on the Switch version and see a super low powered chip try to run that thing. Okay, all right, yeah, we'll do that, Evan. We'll let you take a look at it. Although you did play it on PC for a while, so it is going to be an interesting move for you to the Switch, but we'll see, because even even the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox, it was a hard time with that game at times.
No,
So,
yeah,
that'll be
and at
interesting.
full quality, PCs still chug that too because they kind of future proofed it with their tech,
Turn on
making
hair
push
works.
the full. Dude, when you fight a werewolf, the full hair works and it's jumping through the woods and that shit's going everywhere.
It goes
Oh,
like
man.
15 frames a second. Yeah, that was fun. It's one of those situations where like a card is so like the game is pushing the card so hard because it's a future idea that they're trying to like when you got your 5770 and you're trying to play Metro 2033 with tessellation on, and you're like, it's 8 frames a second, but it's a really good looking 8 frames.
It was
per
a
second.
gorgeous 8 frames.
That was great. Man, so that'd be fun. That's out. 2019. They still didn't give us a release date for it. Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll probably be towards the end of the year, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably okay.
I could see it make it as a nice like Switch Pro, new Switch, whatever you want to call the enhanced version. I could see that as a nice, complement game to it. Like, oh look, you'll get some enhancements. Game will run a little better.
You think they can fit that into September? The Witcher? You think they can put the Witcher? Really, dude? The September is packed right now.
I mean, I'd rather they wait till like October. So it has a little of its own breathing room where it's not going to go up against something like Dragon Quest XI.
October is wide open, isn't it? Like, what's in October
as
right
far
now?
as they didn't date anything beyond September
Yeah.
during
I
E3.
thought- The beginning of October, we're going to get Witcher. The end of October, we're going to get Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah. Bring on Luigi's Mansion. I'm ready for that game. I'm ready.
It looks great.
I'm ready. Yes. So the other funny thing, did you guys read that Luigi's Mansion interview? I think it was with Eurogamer, where at the end they asked him about Metroid Prime 4. And they,
Yeah, I saw that.
We have nothing to say.
they're just not interested in talking about Prime 4 at all. I don't know, like, it's nowhere near being ready to be shown. We're not going to see Metroid Prime 4 probably for 2 E3s. It's going to be a while, but it was really funny. Everyone's going to keep asking me. I see Nate thinks it's like tomorrow now. What? Okay, Nate. What do you think it's-
I could see like a first trailer next E3.
Now, see, here's my issue with Prime 4. Nintendo had to have learned their lesson from the last thing they did. I bet you they don't show us Metroid Prime 4 until it's like 8 months away or something. Like, you think they're going to show it like 2 years out?
I think it's going to depend on what they are reusing from the original Metroid Prime vision. If they completely scrapped it and it's all retro, then we're probably not seeing this game until like 2022.
I think it might be one of the last games.
If they're reusing some of the aspects that Bandai Namco was creating for the game, that probably helped them along, especially if they're using the same storyboard and everything. They don't have to do all those aspects of the game. So they already are kind of a little more ahead. They're not going all the way back to like research and development and coming up with concepts and all this other stuff. So it's going to depend on all of those factors.
I just think they might have got pushed back a bit and maybe a little scared about, oh, it's coming this year. Like, we just saw Animal Crossing get pushed back. Metro Prime 4 is a whole nother situation. I don't know. I'd be more content with them not showing it to us until it's almost done, basically. And they're like, look, we can play it in the treehouse. It's out, holiday or early next year, and then we're moving into next gen after that. Because I still think it might be one of the last games on the Switch at this point. But we are just about at an hour now, so let's go around here. First of all, is everyone getting Mario Maker on Friday? That's next Friday, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I'm getting it.
Is everyone getting Crash Team Racing tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm recording footage right now of the original just so I can do a comparison.
Oh, that's fun. All right, cool. All right. So
I'm too late. If I'm not like too lazy to go to drive to Best Buy, I'll go get it.
Crash Team Racing. That's
Lazy
one.
to drive to Best Buy.
That's gonna be good. Crash Team Racing sounded really, really fun so far. Adventure mode and everything. So it's gonna be a good time. I'm gonna pick that up tomorrow. Like I said, on the way to Too Many Games, and we'll probably have like a Crash Team Racing night tomorrow night. Sean, you got to get out there. I'm telling you.
We'll see.
We'll play some 8-player Crash Team Racing locally on the Switch.
That would be fun.
That'd be pretty fun. Yeah, that'd be a good time. I guess that's our podcast. A bit of a pre-record, like I said, for about an hour. So let me go around here. Sean,
We do have a couple Discord queues.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what?
wanted
Let's hit us with the Discord questions so we can finish up with those. That's a good idea.
Yep. All right. So first one, what are the best new single player games coming to the Switch? I guess
Quest.
just pick one, probably.
Witcher 3,
Luigi's Mansion 3.
Oh man, he took that one.
Astral Chain.
Hey, Astral Chain's co-op, man.
Technically, co-op.
Pain it. House is an astral chain.
Man, everyone's
Fire Emblem.
Everyone's
Yes.
picking all the. Well, the game doesn't say.
Luigi's Mansion 3.
No one's saying Link's Awakening.
We were getting
Link's
there. There's a
Awakening.
lot of good single-player games coming to the Switch
Now,
this year.
I will say, as someone who loved Dragon Quest XI, Dragon Quest XI-S, go check that one out. That's the one to get.
The better question would be, what good multiplayer is coming to the Switch after like Crash Team Racing?
To me, I'm only getting Luigi's
I know
Mansion
one.
3 for the multiplayer.
Oh, but here we go. All right, go ahead.
Damon Ex Machina.
In August, on August 18th, I believe the date is, Friday the 13th will be coming to the Nintendo Switch. And I am very excited for that.
Wait, Nate, we got Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on for multiplayer.
Oh yeah.
I'll be picking that up.
That's gonna be the new. It's gonna be the oh yeah game. Oh yeah, it is coming out.
That game is coming out.
That's out like a week before Fire Emblem.
That's probably why I forgot about it, because I'm looking to Fire Emblem.
Dragon Quest XI-S though, don't sleep on that one. It came out on the PS4 and the PC, but the Switch version is gonna have all kinds of extra stuff, and the game itself is already good. You get a solid 100+ hours out of that, no sweat. What's the next one, Evan?
There's one console that you don't own that you would love to own. Which one would it be? Like Rare or whatever?
Neo Geo AES.
Yeah, probably a Neo
Easy.
Geo of some kind.
Sharp Twin Famicom.
I am going to too many games though, so you never know what comes home with me. You never know.
The Sega CDX. It was the standalone
Yes.
Sega CD.
You have one
I
of those,
want
don't
one of
you, Sean?
those.
You have one of those.
Yeah, I
don't
do.
you? Yeah, Sean,
Yeah.
I want one of those.
I fixed one of those.
Panasonic GameCubes.
Sean has one of those too. He actually sniped one
Yeah,
of
I
those
got
for.
one of those.
You got that at a good price, didn't you?
That was a damn good
I remember
price.
I was there with you, and was the only thing you were missing the controller?
It didn't have the AV cable.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, it was just missing the controller. I was like, okay.
You have you looked into picking one of those controllers up yet? Like kind of taking a look around.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Let's
as
go,
shit.
dude. I'm telling you, too many games. Let's hit it Friday and see if they got anything like that.
Dude, that's expensive.
No,
bro.
dude, I'm telling you, man. They got it's basically a flea market. Roll in there, get some deals, man.
Might even bundle it with a Pro Controller.
Oh, see, now we're getting somewhere. I would watch you buy that Panasonic Q controller for more than what a Pro controller would go for, and I'd be like, Sean.
Well, the thing of it is, I think the Panasonic Q controller is black.
Is
the
it?
system is but the system is silver. So I just use a silver GameCube
That's
controller.
weird.
I
I
think
thought
that
it was
looks
a
great.
That's weird. I thought it was that's strange. I'll see
Yes, it is black. I'm looking at
so
it's
weird.
it's not black, but it's a darker gray.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
much darker gray than the actual system is.
Okay. What's the next Discord question, Evan?
Do you think Breath of the Wild sequel will have couch co-op with Zelda as a playable character?
Ooh.
Playable Zelda, yes, but I think that Zelda's my theory is I've seen speculation going around that it's going to be two separate things, and it's going to be Link up inside the castle, and then like Zelda trapped down on the ground, and so it's going to be both. But I think it's going to be 80% Link, 20% Zelda.
Full co-op, baby. I'm calling it.
At this point, I really can't count anything out, because if you had told me a year ago that they were going to take Breath of the Wild and it would be a VR game that would be compatible with cardboard goggles, I'd say that's impossible. But here we are. So, you know what? Yeah, I mean, they technically showed Link and Zelda, together in that trailer. I mean,
So there's a trope RPGs where when princesses cut their hair, they fight. That's like a huge thing in JRPGs. Final Fantasy IX did it. 1,000 different animes did it. So the fact that Princess Zelda has really short hair, I think 100% confirmed she'll be fighting in some capacity.
And
Sakura did it from Naruto. Sorry.
And they're not gonna have to design this sequel for the Wii U, which might actually open it up a little bit. So maybe that was something that was holding it back some. You never know. I think
it'd be cool if they let you play as Ganondorf.
Oh,
That's the co-op character I'll play as.
Have
That's
like
excellent.
you think they have like a hidden story at the end after you beat it? You get to unlock the little chapter where you play as Ganondorf. That'd be cool.
I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for these
It paints him as a good guy trying to do the right thing, and you realize
Right.
the whole time you're the asshole. Is Link.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what they kind of did in Wind Waker.
It's Karate Kid all
Just-
over again. Yeah.
Ganondorf just wanted the sea breeze in his desert, and Link takes a sword through his head. What an ass.
What, we have another one, Evan?
Last one, with all the games coming up and all the games that have recently come out, how do you guys pick and choose which ones you play?
That's a good
I
question.
just look at them and say, I feel like playing this right now.
Yeah, Nate gets a message this game, and it's super weird, and no one's heard about it. And he goes, "Yes, I will play that."
Yeah, like I'm gonna play Savior's Gang. I don't know why, but I want to walk around as Jesus Christ and
Yeah,
save people.
you're on that eShop too much, Nate.
What in here is $5? Let's go.
I mostly just look at the releases week to week and then decide if there's something in that week I want to get. And a lot of times, I'd say it, I play the game for that entire week and I try to get it done or mostly done, and then I mean, at this point, especially now, with the games all coming out, it's like the next week I'm moving on to the next game and the next game, and then it's like it's tough to go back and grab anything else. But like I was trying to get Bloodstained done before Crash Team Racing came out, but that glitch hit, so now I'm gonna have to go to Bloodstained on the Switch next week to finish it.
Yeah.
While doing CTR, so it's like, oh man.
Well, I plan all my games about 2 months early. So what I'll do is I'll look at a bunch of release schedules for everything on like a rolling 60-day schedule so I can plan out. And a lot of times I'll look at gameplay for everything coming out in the next month. And that's why sometimes you'll be like, Dreamcast guy, you'll like review this big racing game and then a weird little DLC and then this indie RPG. It's kind of just whatever I think will be fun to play.
Smart. Yeah. I just fly by the edge of my seat.
Oh yeah.
It's cool. Whatever RPG or whatever game that I'm looking forward to, whatever comes out and it looks cool, I'm gonna play it.
You know what? I actually want to see your take on Dragon Quest XI-S, Sean.
Yeah, I'll be picking that up. I like the Dragon Quest games.
Okay.
The ones that came out on the 3DS, I think I own, and on the DS actually.
That's pretty much all of them. You've played a big chunk of them then.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I'll be interested in your take on that one. I guess is that everything?
Yep, that is it.
All right, very cool. Let me go around here. Sean, where can they find you?
You can find me on RGT85. I might be at too many games for a day. Might not. Just we'll have to play it by ear.
Hit it
We'll
on
have
Friday.
to play it by ear and
Let's go.
see.
Friday. Let's go.
Well, if I'm there Friday, I mean, this uploads Saturday, so
Yeah, they'll never know.
They'll never know. Well, no, you might spoil it if somebody sees you on Friday and then they listen to this and they're like, "I knew he was there. I knew it."
That is true.
Yeah.
As a YouTuber, he's just a guy with a beard and a hat. That's all he is. If you wear that, you're basically him.
Dude, you're in.
Cigarette, beard, and a hat, and just be like, and beef jerky, bruh.
Dude, you're in. You're in. What about Max? Where can they find you, man?
YouTube.com/Dreamcast guy. By the time you see this video, I will have finished my review for Crash Team Racing, probably. Yeah, bunch of good stuff coming up next week. Obviously, Mario Maker, and I'm going to be trying to do a giant video about the Final Fantasy Shadowbringers expansion. So if you like Final Fantasy and you're open-minded to MMOs, I should have a giant special video of that coming out at some point.
Cool. And then what about you, Nate?
You can find me on Twitter at DirectFeedGames. Link to my YouTube channel can be found there, where I have some my friend Pedro footage up on YouTube. I'll have some Crash Team Racing footage up. Mario Maker 2 footage next week. I think I'll have Bloodstained up next week for the Switch. Just some random recent Switch releases should be up over the next few days.
Cool. Okay. And then OJ, what about you, man?
At Twitter, at Player Essence, and also on my YouTube channel and also my Twitch channel, just Player Essence for everything. I'm probably streaming right now, so go watch me on Twitch. I'm probably streaming, so guys, go over there to my Twitch page. I'll be having on the YouTube channel, probably be streaming that too, and also Bloodstained Ritual of the Night on the Switch. I've already been playing the Xbox version, so you can check out that footage, but I'll be having that and more on Astral Chain and all that good stuff and Fire Emblem. Yeah, well, I'll be having new gameplay footage on Fire Emblem on my channel next week too. So I'm getting to play the game a little bit early, so yeah, I'll be having that next week on the channel too. So make sure you guys check it out.
Okay, and then Evan, what about you?
Just on Twitter mostly. I'll do news updates there. Just Kimrick's project. Should be in, I guess, a link below. And if I'm doing streaming videos, whatever, that'll appear there.
Okay. Very cool. All right, that's going to do it here for the SpawnCast. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll be live next weekend, next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and we'll see you guys then.